Hey guys, welcome back. So continuing our talks on the Batman Who Laughs, who has survived the events of Dark Knight's Metal and is giving our Bruce Wayne pretty much the nightmare that doesn't end. And with the multitude of plans that he has running simultaneously, Batman has found it rather tough since discovering that he was still here, what exactly the Batman Who Laughs is up to. But it's quite possible that recently the Joker may have found that solution. So let's get into that for a little bit. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squad up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so prior to this point, we've talked about the Batman Who Laughs and much of what he's been up to behind the scenes in the DC universe post Dark Knight's Metal. And it wasn't until recently where he's intentionally provoked the attention of Batman by leaving behind these multiple bodies of other Bruce Waynes so that he could extract samples from, so that he could create a serum to fulfill part of his secret agenda. But because these alternate Bruce Waynes are comprised of dark matter, not long after they pop up, these corpses quickly decompose, leaving not much of anything behind for Batman to probe or investigate. And on top of this, with the addition of the Joker, who understood how dangerous the Batman Who Laughs could be and sacrificed himself with the intention of evening the playing field and turning Batman into the Batman Who Also Laughs, I guess, by infecting Batman with the Joker toxin once released from his heart, which really just threw a monkey wrench in Batman's plans, with it giving him an additional challenge along with combating the Batman Who Laughs and the new Bruce which he introduced, known as the Grim Knight, who's pretty much the Bruce Wayne who shot Joe Chill immediately after killing his parents and has ever since weaponized every resource at his disposal, which is pretty insane when you just put into perspective how much research and development Batman puts into not killing people. And Batman knows how to kill everybody, which is why his interrogations are the worst, because he can take you to the edge and keep you there as long as he wants, which is also pretty crazy. But one of the things I want to focus on here is when Batman went back to the Joker at the Batcave, moments after the destruction of Wayne Tower, he went back to the Joker to figure out what exactly is the plan of the Batman Who Laughs. And when the Joker told him that there's only one person who really knows, this is what takes us over to James Gordon Jr., the son of Commissioner James Gordon, who's pretty sick not only when it comes to malicious planning and covering those plans up very well, he also has a bit of experience with modifying drugs, which also could be one of the additional purposes of the Batman Who Laughs taking all these samples from these different Bruce Waynes. Because if we go back to 2011's Black Mirror, which was Scott Snyder's first Batman event, which took place back at a time when Dick Grayson had taken the place of Batman, and during the time we explore a dark journey revealing many secrets of James Gordon Jr. that in retrospect could possibly be the perfect solution to stopping the Batman Who Laughs. Because during that narrative, when James Gordon Jr. had returned to Gotham, and prior to having symptoms of psychotic behavior, which included a number of early signs of something ain't right with this kid. Like as a baby, he never cried. When he got older, he was killing small animals. And of all the things he could have been for Halloween, he wanted to be the Joker. But in addition to that, you also have the disappearance of Bess Keller, who was one of Barbara's childhood friends who had used to tease James Gordon Jr., who had disappeared. And at the time, Jim knew it was James who did it, but for years, nothing could tie him to it. And of course, this came full circle years later when Jim found her key in James' possession, which we discovered later on towards the conclusion of that event. But rather, it was how some of the events unfolded prior to that really give me the notion that James Gordon Jr. could really be the perfect match to finding out what's going on with the Batman Who Laughs. Because when James Gordon Jr. had first came back to Gotham, he told his father that everything was okay, he's seeking professional help, he's taking medications to help his illness, he's been working at the clinic to keep himself busy. But Jim, being the detective that he is, and even though he wanted to believe his son, instead took one of the pills from James' drawer so that Barbara could examine it, to which later they found out that instead of it inducing empathy as it should, that the pill was instead doing the opposite and turning its victims into literal psychopaths. Which reminds me of the most recent conversation between Batman and the Batman Who Laughs. Because during the time that the Batman Who Laughs had walked right into Wayne Tower, into its most secure room, to where Batman attempted to stop him and then was shot by the Grim Knight, the Batman Who Laughs went on to tell Bruce that you are the weakest, most miserable, and the least accomplished Batman that he's ever seen, and telling him in addition to that you don't understand but you will, which likely hints towards the notion of the Batman Who Laughs wanting to create some sort of serum or some sort of drug that would help this Batman catch up, if you will, to the other Nightmare Batman, because as of right now, the Batman Who Laughs considers this Bruce Wayne to be the true Nightmare. And even though at this current time Batman is infected with the Joker toxin and very much on an identical path as the Batman Who Laughs, who was exposed to the Joker toxin in Earth -22, and as a result, this Batman only has 1 week before all the serums that he injected himself with no longer take effect, and he has to find another way to figure it out. But as far as the Batman Who Laughs, who had mentioned to Bruce just before blowing up the Wayne Tower that he could smell this change on him, a change very similar to his own that birthed his creation just before his world was destroyed, implying that Batman needs to go through a similar process to truly be transformed. But getting back to James Gordon Jr. and how he's the solution to all this, let me know what you guys think as far as him being the answer to actually reversing this whole process for Batman, being that he has a history of taking the way that something works and putting its chemical effect in the equal and opposite direction. And even on top of that, if capable of doing so, can he be trusted? Because to this point, I really haven't seen a moment that's proven that he can. I mean, even if you think back to before he had announced himself that he returned, before he had made his presence known, he had been following his father and just watching him prior to which during that time, before he had announced his arrival, there had been a case to where Dick Grayson, who was acting Batman at that time, to where a de-evolution serum that transformed a 12-year-old kid the exact same way as Killer Croc, which is a case that had a number of dead ends, like who gained access to police evidence to get their hands on it in the first place, with this person having to have some type of access to the police evidence lockup. But with James Gordon Jr., who I believe is one person in a way has a number of similarities to the Batman Who Laughs, and one of those being that he can operate right under your nose and pretty much tell you exactly what he's up to, but by the time you figure it out, it's too late, which is exactly the type of twisted mind that they need in their corner. Because at a time when Jim Gordon had told Dick Grayson to check up with James Gordon Jr., who Dick said hadn't really aged much in 12 years, but at the time James Gordon Jr. had made the slight mention of a kid named Ben Wolf, to whom 12 years back had picked on James, took his glasses, and from that time till now, Ben Wolf is a completely different person. But because James Gordon Jr. is so good at covering his tracks and keeping so many others unsuspecting of his actions, little did they know that he had Ben Wolf in his own basement with his jawbone in the corner and his limbs scattered nearby, which is crazy. But for those number of reasons, James Gordon Jr. might be the perfect person to figure all this out. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Did the Joker recommend James Gordon Jr. to figure out the entire plan to reverse the effects of the Joker toxin, or for a completely different reason entirely? And in addition to that, since at the time, during the event of Black Mirror, since Batman was actually Dick Grayson, do you think that we may need help from Dick Grayson in order to figure this out as well? And if we do, how exactly would that pan out with everything that's going on with Nightwing at the current moment? Like, is he even in the mental space to even handle this right now with his current situation going on in Bloodhaven? But let me know your thoughts below, cause man, bringing in James Gordon Jr. has to be one of the craziest twists ever, and bringing him into the equation can flip this thing any kind of way. But like I said, that'll do it for this one, and later on this playlist we will revisit theories on the serum that the Batman Who Laughs is putting together, because I do believe that part has much more to do with the dark matter applying to a Bruce Wayne more than anything else. But let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll do it again in the next one. Alright, later.